Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're looking at something that totally flips how we evaluate ourselves. Right out of the gate, I gotta tell you a secret. Intelligence is not about your IQ score. Nope, it's not about how many random trivia facts you can memorize either. Actually, true intelligence is secretly revealed in our hidden daily routines. It's in those quiet little things we do when we think nobody is watching. And here's the crazy part. Some of these everyday habits are silently destroying your thinking and your potential without you even noticing it's happening.
Most people think intelligence is this fixed thing, right? Like it's determined by some letter grade you got in a classroom 10 years ago or a single standardized test. But the reality? Real intelligence is incredibly dynamic. It is not just a static number locked away in a file cabinet somewhere. It actively shows up in how you think and how you act every single day of your life. It's something you practice.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the hidden intelligence myth, move into dangerous cognitive shortcuts, then explore living on autopilot. Next, we'll look at resistance to growth, and finally, wrap up with cultivating real intelligence.
So, part 1, the hidden intelligence myth. This is all about why our habits matter way more than our grades. The core idea here is that real intelligence shows up in how you think and act daily. But we so often just excuse our little daily quirks, don't we? Well, before we expose these hidden signs of low intelligence, I want you to take a second and consider your own daily routine. Think about how you process new information, how you react when you get something wrong, or even just how you spend your free time. Because some of these seemingly harmless habits, they're actively, silently decaying our ability to process reality. Moving right along to part 2. Dangerous cognitive shortcuts. These are basically the internal flaws in how our brains process information.
The first major cognitive flaw we need to talk about is binary thinking. This is the habit of seeing absolutely everything as strictly black or white, cramming complex ideas into neat, tiny little boxes. But life just isn't like that, is it? By ignoring the messy middle ground, we completely fail to grasp the nuance of reality. This kind of thinking literally shuts down deeper analysis. It stops you from truly understanding complex situations dead in their tracks. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is confirmation bias, which is a massive cognitive trapdoor. This is when you only accept information that proves you're right, while actively ignoring any opposing facts. And why do we do this? Honestly, mostly just to protect our egos. We want to feel smart. We want to feel correct. But ironically, turning a blind eye to opposing facts makes us totally blind to reality. And that is the exact opposite of being intelligent. Another incredible shortcut we take is magical thinking. Look, when you believe that luck or a lucky charm or some superstition somehow controls the outcomes in your life, you are actually surrendering your own intellectual agency. You're just giving up your power. Real intelligence relies on logic, deliberate actions, and truly understanding cause and effect, not just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. Which brings us to part 3, living on autopilot. We're looking at the real danger of unexamined routines. When those internal mental flaws we just talked about manifest outwardly, they turn into unthinking, robotic behavioral loops. Basically, if you're living on autopilot, you are probably going to show 3 main symptoms: a lack of self-awareness, an absolute obsession with instant gratification, and blind following. Living without questioning your own thinking puts you in this dangerous routine where you're just executing a program without ever pausing to ask if it's actually the right one to be running. Let's zoom in on instant gratification for a second because this is universally relatable. When we consistently choose immediate dopamine hits, like, say, endless phone scrolling, over our long-term goals, we are actively sabotaging our own potential. It's a habit that prioritizes a quick hit of short-term pleasure right now at the direct expense of our future intellect and success. Not great. And then there's blind following. I want to ask you directly, are you following trends right now without questioning reality? Are you just walking in the exact same direction as the rest of the crowd simply because it's an easy thing to do? Highly intelligent people actually stop and question the direction of the crowd, because blind following is essentially outsourcing your thinking to everyone else around you. All right, moving into part 4, resistance to growth. This is where we look at the social and physical barriers to learning. And this brilliantly illustrates what happens when these habits encounter actual friction in the real world. You hit the most devastating trap of all: not learning from mistakes. It's a vicious loop. Step 1, you make an error. Step 2, you blame others. Step 3, you repeat the exact same error.
When we flat out refuse to take accountability and just point the finger at someone else, we rob ourselves of the lesson. We just get stuck in an endless loop, basically forever.
This ties directly into rigid thinking. When you completely refuse to change your mind, even when you are proven undeniably wrong, you operate like a blocked path. Without mental flexibility, there is literally no way for new information to get in. It creates a permanent, solid barrier to your own intelligence.
We also see this resistance to growth socially, right, in our everyday conversations. Honestly, weak thinking in conversations is a massive red flag. When an interaction shifts away from discussing complex ideas and just evolves into personal attacks or endless superficial small talk, it really shows a lack of intellectual depth. Great minds discuss ideas, weak thinking resorts to petty arguments. Finally, we absolutely cannot ignore the physical barriers here. Neglecting your sleep actively damages your memory and your decision-making abilities. Listen, you can try to be as self-aware and logical as humanly possible, but if you are exhausted, you are doing physical damage. A tired brain simply cannot execute high-level thinking, period. Okay, part 5, cultivating real intelligence. Let's talk about breaking these hidden habits. Now that we've identified these trapdoors, how do we actually break them? Well, so the crucial point is this. Intelligence is not what you know, it's how you think, adapt, and grow. It's not just some static pool of knowledge you sit on. No, it is an evolving, upward trajectory. It's having the flexibility to change your mind, the courage to learn from a mistake instead of blaming someone else, and the discipline to prioritize long-term growth over a short-term scroll on your phone.
So I want to leave you with this question. Which of these hidden habits will you break today to elevate your mind? Because you have the power to step off autopilot right now. Take a hard look at your daily routines, challenge those cognitive shortcuts, and just watch your true intelligence soar. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I can't wait to explore our next incredible topic with you.